You were instrumental in stopping Freeway 238 that would have cut through neighborhoods and land above Mission Boulevard in Hayward.
We know from the very earliest maps, it was designed by someone in a Caltrans building someplace who drew this particular route. And that went from the intersection of 580, I should say, and Foothill Boulevard, and a climb behind the old Hayward City Hall. So it would have been in that park area also, which is where the Hayward's Theater and the Hayward Senior Center is now at this time. It would have crossed A Street around 4th Street. It would have bypassed and been on the boundary of Markham Elementary School. It would have ascended up below, amazingly, the baseball diamond at Cal State Hayward. And it would have been 3 levels at that time, possibly 4, plus frontage roads coming and going north and south. And then it descended on Harder Road, would have been behind Monroe Catholic High School, and then over to Industrial, going through a slight rural area, and then many private homes down to Industrial. So that's where it would have gone. And it would have been 6 lanes wide with side roads on each side, approximately a half a mile wide. Incredible. With exits and entries also alongside. This at one time was going to be a federal freeway, by the way, or built with federal funds, I should say, going from 580 at that intersection all the way down to Union City's border, then continuing on through Union City and then through Fremont and catching up to 680 at that time. So that would have been a major freeway going through. But it should be stated that both Union City and Fremont, at some point in history, and slightly after our organization, CATS, was formed, then they opted out of having a freeway. A section of Union City called the Raza Unida, who formed themselves into an organization, and they sued Caltrans, saying that they should not be building a freeway through their neighborhoods because it was affecting people of low income. And that judge at the time, whoever it was, said yes, that was a good reason not to have a highway or a freeway or anything going through their community. That was a good enough position to have a lawsuit, and the lawsuit was successful. And that prevented the freeway from being started. Our organization called CATS, Citizens for Alternative Transportation Solutions, when we were formed in 1986. And then we started opting and asking people in the city of Hayward to support our position of not having a freeway go through. And then there are many other reasons for our position, and we were successful. We also had to go to court eventually.
Did Caltrans use eminent domain? How did they purchase these lands?
Well, probably because they had already written this down in the maps, I'll put it that way. They probably did use eminent domain because we were not part of the purchasing. We didn't question the fact that they did it. We knew they had done this because you could almost just drive around the area if you knew where to look to see the houses that were beginning to fall apart, become disrepaired, and literally abandoned by Caltrans and the people that used to live in them. On the other hand, there were a few people that continued to live there. And since that freeway was not going to be built, those people didn't have to be worried about being relocated. And the city didn't have to worry about paying for the relocation.
And the properties that went into disrepair, what is happening with them now?
Well, some of them have been already purchased by private individuals. And I know that some of the houses have been put into what's called a package, so that there might be 3 or 4 houses, and that they all must be purchased at one level according to Caltrans. Because it's state-owned property, it has to be sold at the highest amount that the state can get, apparently. And then there are other properties, and I'll put out the example of the parking lot, which is adjacent to the Hayward Doug Morrison Theater. That parking lot belongs to the state of California. So the Recreation District is now negotiating to purchase that property for its own use and for that park area. To our knowledge, the Caltrain properties that we're going to be as the, what's called the Freeway or the Hayward bypass, the Freeway Route 238, those properties are listed for sale in the Caltrain's office building in downtown Oakland. And anyone who's interested, they're to go and locate the proper person to speak with, and they will get the correct information about buying a property, if that is so desired. So that's, as far as we know, we are not in business to sell properties, so our organization doesn't do that. But we support people who do want to buy properties and maintain them or redesign them